All right, let's just get back to what we were talking about.
Yeah. We always start talking before we record, and then it's time to catch up. This is a April Fool's Week recording.
Yeah. After April Fool's, though, importantly.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, this is all real stuff, I think. But I got by Rich Froning got me.
Why? Did he post something?
Yeah, he posts and it was a very elaborate plan for this, and well done, because it was awesome. He posted a screenshot of a registration confirmation.
Yeah.
For the games, so it must have been maybe one of his old ones, or somehow he got his hand on the picture, like step 4 of 4, like registration confirmed, blah blah blah, and then the caption says, "I qualified, so might as well, I guess." And then he's like, "Click the link for more info." You click the link, and it goes to I forget which website it was. Anyway, Box Rocks, Beyond the Whiteboard, whatever. Redirects you to that website, and it's an article, and it starts off talking about like Rich's stats and this and that, and like some quotes from him. And then about halfway down through the article, it's like, also, this is a joke. He didn't actually accept it. I was like, because at first, like, I opened it in the morning. I'm just hanging out.
Yeah.
And I opened it. I was so pumped, and I didn't click on the link or anything like that. I was like, oh man, no way, this is awesome. And then when I got back home, I'm like, okay, I got to find out more about this and read the article. Click the article, and it's like, rascal.
I was actually wondering about that. I didn't creep the standings a whole lot this year since I didn't do any of the workouts, but like he could have got in, right, if he wanted to.
Yeah.
And he just isn't, I guess.
Yeah. Announced today, the day we're recording, that he's going team at the
if his team qualifies, his team's been stuck in the hind tit.
Yeah. They've been doing pretty not awesome. So they're going to the one in China CrossFit Championship, whatever it's called. I forget.
Could be a toss-up.
Yeah. So it's Rich, Dre Strom, Tajia or Tajia. I forget how to pronounce her name.
Or something.
Yeah. Horrible with that name. I'm sorry. And then China Cho is the other person I saw in the picture. So pretty solid team. But they're going there to try and qualify as a team. Disappointed? Definitely. Yeah. I would have liked to see.
Well, hopefully their team doesn't qualify, and then he'll just have to fall back on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have until the end of April. The videos won't be confirmed which is very anticlimactic. I was talking to Dan about this, like, because, I mean, for an athlete, like, the qualifying experience could be, is a really special moment, right? Like, regionals had that moment where everyone was on the floor, and it's like, you go, you're going, and everybody kind of got to celebrate in that moment. And then friends and family are probably there, so they get to celebrate after, and they're with the athletes, and it's just like a good, fun time for the people that qualify. And for the people that come close, like he did last year, and don't make it, it's a real big motivator for that person. Like, that feeling doesn't leave you very quickly. And then, I mean, this way, you find out you qualify, you work so hard, and you're obviously an incredible athlete to qualify for the CrossFit Games. It's not taking anything away from the athlete's capacity and their ability to perform, but it's just not the same for them. Like, they don't get that moment.
Closed doors for sure.
Yeah. So April 30th or whatever rolls around when everything gets confirmed, and it's like you're in your room on your phone, or you're in the office there taking care of business, and you're just creeping your email or the Instagram or whatever and find out that you qualify for the CrossFit Games, like, by yourself, sitting on the throne.
Congrats.
Yeah. Not as exciting. Still great to qualify, but I think that's one thing that is definitely lost in qualifying for the games from the Open is the athlete experience. Those are the only ones that suffer from that. The sanctionals, you still get it, but the majority of people are going to qualify for the games through the Open now. National championships, don't even look. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, you told me about this one.
A guy who did 3 workouts won his country. It's like, man, I mean, the loophole is he didn't complete all the workouts, so he can't go to the CrossFit Games. But I mean, that shows you how little interest in the sport there is in that country.
There were some athletes who qualified who did like a scaled workout, right?
Yeah.
Scaled some of the workouts.
Yeah.
So yeah, they'll It'll be interesting to see how they mesh all those together when they get to the games.
Yeah.
Well, they're obviously going to have some type of elimination. I'm assuming they'll weed through some athletes pretty damn quick, like within the first couple workouts.
I would think so. I mean, even if they put like a minimum work requirement on the first workout, you're going to lose half the people probably.
Yeah.
Right? Make it something legit that only a good athlete can get to. Yeah. And there you go. Which, I mean, would suck for somebody with limited resources.
Who actually made the effort to travel and get there,
Yeah. And I mean, it happened to Sam Briggs last year, maybe. She couldn't get a visa, so she couldn't even go to the games. So you wonder how many people from these smaller countries are going to struggle getting a visa into the States in their political climate right now.
Yeah.
Could be a bit of a interesting situation.
So anyway, we're talking a lot of supplements today, mostly. Kind of like, not necessarily like once to use, not to use, how to use them. I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit, but more like a little bit more, I guess, behind the scenes stuff today, like regulations, how to look at ingredient labels. I would say a bunch of practical shit, really.
Yeah.
Because it's a pretty dark industry in a lot of ways, and there's a lot of stuff going on that I don't think the average consumer knows anything about. Yeah.
And it's kind of left to like consumer beware, but it's hard to navigate sometimes. There's a lot of murky areas. Yeah. And also when you read a label, you expect that label to tell the whole story. And I think we're going to get into how you can't even trust that. You have to go a little step further.
Yeah.
But you were telling me, I think last week we were doing like a brainstorming session about what the hell to talk about, other than just be a couple of potatoes for the next few weeks.
We have a few guests lined up, by the way.
Yeah.
Actually, quite a few coming up in the coming weeks. So.
Yeah, that'd be wicked. Yeah. Some all different industries too. I guess similar, but like they
definitely wide scope.
Yeah, so that'd be fun. Yeah. But you were telling me about one protein company. I forget what it was, and it doesn't really matter what company it is, I guess. But
and I don't even remember what the company is. And to be honest, I'm sure there's more than one company that does this. But so what they'll do is they'll essentially have the exact same protein powder. I mean, in all intents and purposes, it looks the same. It's the same product. It's not like whey isolate versus whey protein blend or even anything like that. It's named the exact same thing. But they'll have one product that they sell at, I don't know, say like an actual supplement store. So it might be of a higher price, this protein powder at a supplement store, and then they'll sell that exact same product, but of a much lower price, and they'll sell it at like a store like Walmart or something like that, who always has like discounted rates and that type of thing.
Right.
So difference is, so again, like essentially same product, or what you would think is the same product. One's maybe $50, the other's like $30, $35. So the difference is that the cheaper one will actually have less amino acids in it than the more expensive one. And you won't know this unless you actually look at the ingredients label and you actually add up each individual amino acid and figure out what that adds to. So if like picture the ingredient label on the back of a whey protein. If you've never looked at it, it shows your basic like calorie information, essentially. Like it'll show you like calories, fat, carbohydrates, et cetera, but then it will also show you that long list of how many grams of not only essential amino acids are in it, but also the grams of non-essential amino acids. So it's a list of like, I believe it's like 20. So if you were to add up the total grams from those 20 amino acids, you might get from the more expensive product, for example, like 25 grams. And then from the other product, you might get something like 20 grams or lower. And you wouldn't know that unless you actually go on there and add this up. So it's pretty shady.
Yeah, for sure it is. Yeah.
But so maybe you're asking, well, how can they do that? Well, because it's literally shown right there on the ingredients. But who takes the time to actually look at that and add those up and figure it out that, hey, this actually has less than the other one? Yeah.
That's just one example.
Yeah, I mean, so this was from, I won't do any name dropping today, but I met with a professor at Western a little while ago who has some like very strong insight on the supplement industry in general, and he kind of led me to this because he's had experience in the past working with some of these shitty supplement companies, and so he knows all the ins and outs, he knows the flaws, and he was telling me about just this one example. I think it goes on. In fact, I know it goes on with at least like, I don't know, I can tell you like BCAAs as another example. I actually just saved a screenshot on my laptop earlier today that it does, like, it's a very, very similar thing. So if you look at the scoop size, it might say something like, so let's say a BCAA powder says scoop size 10 grams.
Which is pretty average for that.
Yeah, but then you go and look at the actual ingredients and it will say branched chain amino acids, total content 5 grams.
Right.
And nothing else is in that except BCAAs and then the what they call like non-medicinal ingredients.
Right.
But they don't list how much of that is in the product. So again, 10 grams in the scoop, 5 grams from BCAAs. Well, then we have 5 grams of mystery powder.
Right. And
so where's that coming from?
Yeah. And the variance per scoop too, right? One scoop, you might only be getting 2 grams of BCAAs, 8 grams of the fillers. Some scoops you're getting 0 BCAAs and just all fillers and flavors.
Now, so the question is, what does it say on the product label? And that I don't know, because I haven't actually, since learning some of this stuff, I haven't gone back out and bought supplements and actually looked at this.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if on the front, does it say 10 grams of BCAAs, or does it say like 10 grams per serving with 5 grams, or sorry, like 10 gram servings with 5 grams of BCAAs?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it would say.
Yeah.
But basically what that means is that you take that one scoop, you're getting 5 grams of BCAAs, and then you're getting 5 grams of like artificial flavors. I don't know, they might put like sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda. It might be like citric acid. You might see, I'd say artificial flavors are the big one.
Yeah.
So you might see like a sucralose or an aspartame or something like that.
Yeah. And a lot of people that are buying like a flavored protein or a flavored supplement of any kind, like that's something that you have to expect that some of the weight of your scoop is going towards that flavoring and towards that.
Yeah. And I don't think people realize that.
Yeah. You gotta know these things.
Yeah.
Right. It's like your protein supplement is not only protein in a lot of cases. There's some that are very pure, and we have a lot about the fish oil stuff because that's one that's very, very skewed and kind of all over the place and high quality, low quality, just purity levels and what is actually going into that supplement. But protein as a more simple example that doesn't have quite as many complexities as the fish oil supplement. You have to read it, right? That has to be something, because these companies in the research, just like in the stores that I've done, checking out labels and just with the supplements that I take, is it's right there. It's on the label. There's, from what I've seen, there's nothing misleading on the labels that would make you think that this has more than it does. But what it doesn't have is like a very clear label. Yeah. It's murky, but it's all there. It's just set up in a way that like, okay, can we check this box, and this box, so that if the FDA actually checks out our product, which is a whole other topic in itself, if they check, can we check the boxes to make sure our product doesn't get pulled off the shelves?
They're not lying to you. They're just not telling you everything.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
Which is,
yeah, it is what it is. So, long story short, like if you see a cheap ass product, or if you see a product that's always 50% off, or you see the same product, one's $40, one's $20, you just have to be a little skeptical. I think what it comes down to is, with supplements in particular, you're getting what you pay for in most cases, I would say.
Yeah. So
like, this is why it bugs me when people say, even like very, very qualified people in the health industry, whoever that is, say like supplements are BS, supplements don't work. Well, it's not that they don't work. It's that probably like 1% of all supplements are actually like high quality supplements. So no shit, all that other junk out there doesn't do anything. Like, it's because it doesn't have in it what is supposed to be in it. So
yeah, like you look at a supplement, some sort of blend or like matrix or something that has creatine in it, but you never actually get an effective dose. In your scoop, you get like 1 gram. Which is not enough to do anything. We know for the most part it's 5. But this is where it's like you have to, as a consumer, educate yourself about effective doses. Stay away from the blends because you never know where you're going to get with that stuff.
Good old proprietary blend.
And then it just lists ingredients. It's like, oh, well, this is a gamble. I could be getting 800 milligrams of caffeine in this pre-workout. No wonder you're fired up.
We were looking at, Jesse and I were looking at kind of like a free sample pack of supplements the other day that was laying around at the gym, and it's pretty interesting to look at all of those. Not only like just the product names is amazing. Especially
those
the
are
pre-workouts.
It's like curse or something. So intense.
They're ridiculous, but just when you actually go to look at the ingredients that are in them, we found one that the total caffeine intake in there, again from probably like 3 different sources of caffeine.
That's right.
Was like 1 serving, like 600 milligrams or something.
Yeah, it was 600 milligrams in one of those sample packs.
I'd be having a heart attack.
Yeah. And on the front, in very small, it says half a pack is 1 serving. But
how many people do you know though? Just
and think who that's being marketed to. Also, if there's like skull and crossbones on your sample pack, like you're marketing to a young,
it's like 18-year-old male
probably who's like wanting to just get jacked and wants to get all pumped up. He's got his Beats by Dre on in his cut-off t-shirt, and he's just going to rip some weights, and he's going to be fired up for 14 days after drinking that.
I just picture that person. I'm picturing it because this used to be me.
Exactly.
Taking that pre-workout powder like 6:45 p.m. for a 7:30 p.m. workout, and then wondering why I can't get to sleep till 4 a.m.
That's right. Yeah, I remember like at Fanshawe when I was taking fitness promotion, I hung out with a guy he's a really good bodybuilder. He's great. Like he got his pro card and went the whole thing. Like he did it. He went for it. But like we'd be at his house about an hour before we start going to the gym. We're like cranking music and drinking our pre-workout at the house. We're like throwing stuff around, just being complete yo-yos. But I mean, that was another time.
It's part of the routine.
Yeah. Thankfully, that's not who I am anymore.
Actually, the half-life of caffeine is long AF too. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah.
It's like 6 hours or something. So if you take like 200 milligrams of caffeine at 12 noon, you'll still have like about 100 milligrams working away at 6 p.m.
Yeah. Which is like 1 cup of coffee, pretty much.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Fit Aid had a good April Fool's joke too with their spray. Some spray they're like
a multivitamin spray, topical spray.
Topical, yeah. The one guy comments, if I spray this directly on my biceps, will I see immediate gains? Like people knew it was a joke, but oh man, it was funny. That's good stuff.
And then the other half was like, yes, finally, when can I get this?
Yeah, exactly.
No idea. Is it still up on their page?
Yeah, they left a post up. Yeah, and didn't even clarify if it was a joke or not. So I'm like assuming that it was a joke because it's so ridiculous. But I mean, who knows? Want to dive into the fish oil stuff because that's a supplement, one that we've talked about multiple times because of its just its versatility in terms of like how it could help different demographics, right? And why it's a necessary supplement for most people.
It does seem very, very versatile.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to waste your money, right?
In terms of research, it's probably like number 1 or 2, I would think, for most supporting research showing its benefits. It's either like that or creatine, I would say.
For supporting research?
Yeah. Like Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I got some notes from you here saying over 70% of fish oil supplements do not contain the levels of EPA or DHA stated on the label.
Yeah, so this is another supplement manufacturing rule or guideline that nobody knows about. And actually, I don't fully know about this one either, but I think there's something like when manufacturing a supplement, you're allowed to have like a certain amount of variance in like the actual amount of that's in that product. So let's say, for instance, I have a product that I say has on the label and on the ingredient label, I say this has 5 grams of creatine monohydrate. You're allowed to have, I forget what the percentage is, but you're allowed to have a certain amount of variance on that number. So like hypothetically, let's say this manufacturing rule, since you can have variance, you may be technically allowed to have, if you actually get that product tested, have only like, again, this is just an example, have only like 4.5 grams or upwards of like 5.5 grams of creatine. And as long as you're within that variance, you can still say that it has 5 grams of creatine.
Okay.
So again, I forget what the actual value is, like what you're allowed to get away with, but that's kind of the takeaway here. Yeah.
But there is a bit of variance.
Yeah.
So I mean, when you're talking effective doses and like, is that going to harm anyone? I would say that's pretty safe to have a range. It would be, I don't know what sort of process is involved in the whole manufacturing of a product like that, but I would imagine it's very, very difficult to have it.
Yeah, I think so.
Perfect the whole time.
Yeah. That being said, this fish oil is kind of like, it's in its own category compared to all these other supplements because of what's actually in the product. So what I mean by that is just because of what fish oil itself is, so like because of its chemical structure, it's very, very, and I think we've talked about this before, it's very, very prone to oxidation.
Right.
So if it gets exposed to too much heat or air, it becomes oxidized. It's just because it's a polyunsaturated fatty acid, and that's how they react with oxygen. If they get exposed to too much, they become oxidized. So that being said, when it comes to fish oil, the manufacturing process and even like the shipping processes are just that much more important, because if they use a crap process, then it's going to become oxidized. And then of course, if the fish oil is becoming oxidized, not only is it going to have like less of the effective dose in it because some of the doses become oxidized, but I mean, it's like oxidation itself is an issue. And again, it's just, you're wasting your money.
Yeah.
Essentially. So
what would be, so like oxidization, like what's, like for the listeners, how do I frame this question?
What is it?
What's wrong with that? I guess. Like, so what's the problem with having oxidized?
I always tell people like, well, there's 2 examples, like iron rusting, that's oxidation. Leaving an apple out on the counter and it turning brown, that's oxidation as well. So like it's technically, it's always hard thinking back to chemistry stuff.
Yeah.
It's when you have unpaired electrons. So right. Yeah, I mean, that's really all you need to know. So if you have unpaired electrons, then these unpaired electrons become, or these molecules with unpaired electrons, they become what you would call free radicals. This creates reactive oxygen species. And so that's the same thing as oxidative stress. So basically, basically you don't want this, because if you have oxidative stress, it just means that you're more prone to like damage to like your DNA, your proteins, your lipids. Like basically what you're made of, like your cellular components are more prone to, or they're prone to being damaged by oxidative stress. So I mean, like and again, this isn't one of those things where like you need to be all concerned with and avoid it at all costs.
Right.
Like breathing creates oxidative stress. So this is something we accumulate throughout our lifetime. It's just one of those things where you don't want excess. And if you're buying a supplement like fish oil, you don't want it to be oxidized. Like,
Yeah.
that's not what you're buying it for.
Right. You
Like
want it to be in the form that it's intended to be.
Yeah, because fish oil's benefits are from a pure fish oil, not from an oxidized fish oil.
Right.
Meaning if you're buying an oxidized fish oil, you're not even getting the benefits. If anything, you might even be getting like some health impairments, if anything.
Yeah, because some oxidative stress responses from your body are going to cause you to go more towards the disease end of the spectrum than that wellness, which, I mean, if you're health-minded enough to go out and buy a fish oil product, you're doing it to be healthy. You're not doing it to make yourself sick.
So you want a fish oil that's actually going to do what fish oil does.
Yeah.
Whereas the majority of products, so that like the Jameson you're buying at the grocery store or even like Costco brands, for example, like those aren't going to get you the benefits that you're looking for. So you're better off, especially with fish oil, spending a little bit extra money.
Yeah. And I mean, aside from just, the oxidation makes it not even itself. So that's obviously a big problem. But then with those cheaper discount brands, all the ratios and the dosages and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you have to take 42 capsules, the
effective
dose of one, and then that's going to throw off the ratios of, because a lot of them have like a lot of omega-6s in them because they're cheaper.
Yeah.
Then everything just gets, everything that you're trying to do gets completely flipped around and backwards, and you're doing more damage than anything else.
So if you're sitting there wondering, well, how the hell do I know if my fish oil is oxidized? Well, don't even worry about that. First, look at like how much EPA and DHA is even in the product.
Right. Because
most of them, like you said, might have like 200 milligrams total EPA and DHA combined. And you're going to have to be taking have pop capsules all day long.
Yeah.
That's assuming it's of a high quality too.
Right. That's one thing I really like about the fish oil that we carry at the gym.
Yeah.
The Paleo Ethics one, just as potency, if nothing else, like its potency is where it needs to be. And if we take care of it, I mean, I know their shipping is something that they talk to us about a lot when we decided to carry their product. So just knowing that they were that mindful of their shipping practices was good. Just like the speed that they want it from manufacturing to a shelf. And it's like, it can only be there for this long, and make sure that people follow the label in terms of proper storing and this and that. Like it was like a whole to-do list that they sent with their product. Good. And that's good stuff.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
Should we take a very quick break and then we'll get into a few more of these specifics?
Sure.
All right.
We back.
Yeah. So there's a few other things, like, again, if you don't even have to really worry about whether or not it's oxidized, there's easier, I guess, signs you can look for before you even do that. So like, obviously look at the ingredients, like figure out how much EPA and DHA is in it. So not total, it'll say like total fish oil or something like that. That's not the number you want. Look at EPA and DHA. Yeah. And figure out what the combined amount of that is. Yeah.
One thing that I've seen a lot of is like just Omega-3 and then Omega-6.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't want to just look at those.
Yeah.
You want to see of each.
For sure, yeah.
Off the top of your head, I'm putting you on the spot, sorry. Do you know like what the ratio should be for that?
I mean, it varies a lot, to be honest. I could even argue that it depends on your goal.
Okay.
I think that's getting a little too picky, though.
I like it.
Well, so before I get to that, I'll go over the differences between EPA and DHA. But before that, I was going to say like some other practical tools to actually find some good shit. So if it's a capsule, take a bite into it. You should not really taste anything. Like, it shouldn't taste nasty and fishy. If it does, that's a pretty good sign that it's been oxidized. Okay. So you want it to be generally tasteless.
Okay. A lot of people complain about the fish burps.
That's that would
be an oxidized product.
That's a good sign that it's oxidized. So you shouldn't have the fishy burps.
Okay.
Even like unscrewing the lid and just taking a whiff.
Yeah.
Again, if it smells just nasty and fishy in there, it's not good.
Okay.
And then the other thing is, like the freezer test. So put it in the freezer, see what happens. So there's one of the Paleoethics ones in the freezer right now. It stays liquefied. So that's what you want, because the actual omega-3 shouldn't freeze. Meaning if it's high in omega-3s, then it will stay liquefied in the freezer. You can do it with the capsules as well. It's just a little bit trickier. Like you have to know what you're looking for, kind of. You have to look at, like, if it goes like really, really murky, then it's also oxidized. So this is a capsule. So you would want the capsules to remain like generally pretty clear.
In general, or when you freeze them?
When you freeze them.
Because
remember, it's the same idea as the liquid. Like what's in the capsule shouldn't freeze, right?
Right.
So if it's like coated over and looks frozen in the capsule, then same thing as the liquid.
Oh, that's wicked. So many people could just take their fish oil product right now and toss it in the freezer and see if it's good.
I know.
Oh, sweet.
But so there's kind of like a catch to that.
Okay.
So that doesn't really tell you, it doesn't tell you the purity of the product. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So potency would be how much omega-3 is in it. Purity would be whether or not it's oxidized.
Okay.
So the freezer won't tell you purity because it could be a super pure product, so not oxidized at all, but it may be very, very low in omega-3.
So it would freeze.
Yeah, because of what else is in it. Yeah.
Okay.
So but I mean, between the freezer and biting it, you can figure it out.
Okay, yeah.
Or burping, or
right.
Yeah.
In an ideal world, you'll have high omega-3 and it being pure, but the freezer test doesn't explain the purity part. It just explains the omega-3 content. Okay.
And then other things
catching
like,
up here. Phew.
Yeah. Other things like don't just stash it anywhere with the lid off. You know, like you do with your toothpaste.
Right.
Leave the lid off, stash it in the drawer, whatever. Don't do that with that, because remember, exposure to air, that's going to oxidize it. Or like you see some people, they might like keep it on top of their oven or on top of the microwave or something. Yeah. Not the best place either. Keep it in the fridge or the freezer, ideally.
Even when it's not open?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ideally.
So I'm just thinking now, like I'm imagining myself in a supplement store.
Yeah.
Buying an omega-3, or even at the gym, right? Like our stuff is on a shelf. Other places you'll find it's in a freezer or like one of those large fridges.
Yeah.
That would be a better storage for a product like that.
Yeah. But again, like having it just on a shelf at room temperature, is that going to like oxidize it? I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm not sure if they've really done any tests either to figure that out.
Okay.
It's just kind of like ideally, you know.
Yeah. As soon as you have it in your possession.
Yeah.
Do the best practice possible.
Assuming you bought a good one, you probably spent a couple extra bucks on it, so you might as well take good care of it. Yeah.
Because even there's ranges like I've seen from your, what would you call it? Ebook, I guess, or like your blog post about this topic. There's some that like they're going to push you over $100 for 60. I'm just going off memory here.
Like servings of 60
servings, maybe.
Yeah, there is some pretty pricey ones, I think.
And then there's more like middle of the pack ones that can still be very pure and have the right amounts of EPA and DHA. Oh, you're going to talk about the difference.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So EPA is more so like your anti-inflammatory. That's kind of a simplification, but so like what EPA does is prevents arachidonic acid. Arachidonic acid increases pro-inflammatory markers. So basically just think like it's essentially blocking the production of pro-inflammatory molecules, right? So it's primarily anti-inflammatory. The DHA on the other hand, so this is what probably most people have heard of it as like being really good for the brain. So yeah, it definitely is. your brain is like, I think it's like 10 or 20% DHA anyways. And I always tell people like human breast milk is the highest source of DHA you can get. So that's right. Like that's telling you something right there is that we're kind of designed to give this to infants immediately. But DHA it's really, really good for cell membranes. So all our cells, like even nerve cells in the brain, they have a cell membrane, which is just this, it's essentially like a fatty insulation around the cell. So this is really important for what it does is it basically maintains the health of that cell. But again, every single cell has these. So we want healthy cell membranes in general. So what DHA does is it makes the cell membrane. So you can picture it as like almost like a gate around something, like a gate around a mansion. Yeah. So the mansion's the cell, the gate, which also has a fence that goes all around the mansion property. That's your cell membrane. So the DHA makes that gating system, that cell membrane, what we would call fluid. So fluid, again, if you want to think of this with that example, fluid would mean like that gating system is very, very sensitive. Like it only opens when it should. It only lets in like friends. It kind of keeps like burglars, enemies, all of that crap out. Right. So the DHA improves this fluidity of the cell membrane. So ultimately what that means is it's going to improve the health of the cell in general, but it's also going to improve communication between cells. So now when we look at all the benefits of fish oil, these are like the two things that it comes from, basically. So when you hear like omega-3 fish oil increases like our ability to build muscle, increases muscle protein synthesis, it's because these cell membranes of your cells are more receptive to those signals that are coming in that are building muscle, basically. So another good example is older people, like elderly, have a very, very difficult time building muscle. Mm-hmm. A lot of that probably has to do with the health of their cell membranes. So on the other hand, you add fish oil in. So we know that if elderly people supplement fish oil, their ability to actually build muscle like literally marginally increases. Well, it's because their muscle cells all of a sudden become more receptive to those muscle building signals. So that's just one example, but that's of where a lot of the benefits come from.
That's big.
Yeah, like honestly, I think along with creatine, I strongly believe that like the benefits of omega-3 fish oil are like way underappreciated. And again, it's especially for those elderly people whose like quote unquote normal mechanisms that like you or I or someone who works out on a regular basis, someone who's healthy, whatever, even someone who's young, all of these mechanisms are probably like, I mean, they're pretty good, right? Like we technically, if we didn't want to, we wouldn't have to take supplements. That's just how it is. It might give you like a 1% edge, but we don't need it. On the other hand, these elderly people, like they could benefit massively from this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that tells the whole story right there in terms of the importance, right? It's like, if it's going to benefit you now in all these different ways and it's not going to harm you as you age, in fact, it's going to just become more essential, I would say, as you age, then that's a supplement that's worth taking. Going towards like, let's see, like a nitric oxide based pre-workout.
Yeah.
Would you give that to an elderly person? No.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's not going to be something. But if it has that many benefits to your health and longevity over time, and it's still going to benefit you when you hit that age, I mean, that's something that's worth your investment in terms of time and money, and investment in time, not only in like to buy the supplement and take it on a consistent basis and follow the effective dose and the timing and all those things, but do your due diligence in making sure that you're actually giving yourself something that's giving you all the benefits that Chet just said, because go back where we started with this, like if your supplement is tainted in any way, which is usually it becomes oxidized, then you're not getting the benefits that Chet's talking about. So the purity of the supplement is very important. Yeah.
So when you hear someone say like, yeah, I've been taking this supplement for a long time, but I don't feel shit. Well, what supplement are you taking? Like,
right.
Did you get it in the discount aisle at Walmart for $10?
Yeah.
Or did you actually spend a few extra dollars and get like so this is another thing that we should mention. What I was going to say was, or did you spend a few extra dollars and get one that is, for example, like IFOS certified? So
right. Yeah.
It stands for International Fish Oil Services, I guess, which is like it's an independent third-party testing agency. So they'll just...
Those are the ones you like.
Yeah, that's what you want. So they have no association with any supplement company at all. They just get these supplements in so the menu or the company, they actually have to submit their product to be tested.
Yeah.
And then this IFOS company just tests them all. So if you see a product, if you see a fish oil that has, it's like a blue circle that says IFOS, that's really good sign that it's a quality product.
Yeah.
And the one that you mentioned, like the one that we sell at the gym, it has that one. So that's a good sign.
I would say don't even bother with one that doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, there might be like the odd exception, but if you just want to play things safe, then yeah.
Yeah. And that shows me like because if I'm going to take a supplement from a company, you want to trust the company and where they're coming from.
Yeah, that's right.
Using the same example from the same product, like that list that they sent, the do's and don'ts list went a long way with me. But if a company is going to open up their product to that third-party testing openly, knowing that certification carries that sort of weight, that speaks a lot to the consumer too, because they don't have anything to hide at that point.
And it sure isn't free.
Yeah, it's a big investment for the company to have that.
So,
but it carries a ton of credibility, and then they have to keep their standards up to that point. So that's a good thing to look for. What's the acronym again?
IFOS.
IFOS. Yeah, it's got like a little gold badge. It looks like any other certification sort of sticker that you would see on a supplement. If you've ever seen the FDA approved one, it looks very similar to that. Same color scheme, same everything.
Yeah. Or I guess we'll probably get into some of those other certifications, like the NFS, Safe Sports Certified one or whatever.
Yeah.
I just thought of one more thing that I should have mentioned, like the actual form that the fish oil comes in. So you might see triglyceride, you might see ethyl ester, phospholipid, or I forget what the other one is. So we'll just worry about like triglyceride and ethyl ester because those are the two main ones that you'll see a fish oil come in. So if you have a choice between triglyceride, ethyl ester, you want the triglyceride because it's just its bioavailability is significantly higher than the ethyl ester. So like when they manufacture, the manufacturer will go from triglyceride to ethyl ester, and then some people will leave it at an ethyl ester. Other people will reconvert it back to a triglyceride because that increases its absorption. So again, like extra money, extra time to convert it back to the triglyceride.
Right.
But that's the more effective product. So then if we jump back to like the research thing, or like people who say like supplements don't do shit. I've seen a lot of conflicting research on fish oil. Well, it's because a lot of studies look at the ethyl ester instead of the triglyceride.
Right.
And I think even a lot of unfortunately, even a lot of, I don't know what you would call like clinical grade fish oils, I guess you could say. Yeah. So you might see these in a peer-reviewed study that uses this like quote unquote clinical grade fish oil. A lot of times that's even in ethyl ester form. So, people are like, oh my God, this is another thing I have to look out for. Like, if a study says that fish oil is crap, now I have to go and look. Well, no, you don't. Like, I'm going to do that dirty work for you. But
yeah, exactly.
Still, you can clearly look on the label and see, is this triglyceride form or not? I mean, it'll clearly state that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't look at the front of your supplement and make your choice from that. Basically, like don't look at the
Yeah.
nice, pretty labels.
Yeah.
Turn it over and look at the very boring white and
It's
black
cool design.
nutrition facts
Yeah.
part and get your information from there.
Yeah. And then the other one is phospholipid, but that's more like a krill oil thing. So maybe we can, if we have time, we could come back to that.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting too.
Let's do it now. Let's just roll with it.
Oh man. All right. So the krill oil, so fish oil, a ton of benefits. Krill oil might even have more.
What is a krill?
Yeah.
For those listening. It's a little shrimp-like creature.
Yeah, smaller fish, I think. How's that work? I think even harvesting krill is like more ecologically friendly. Of everything that I've read on the difference between krill oil and fish oil, that's the thing that comes up all the time. Really?
Yeah, it's just it's environmental.
So I'm not just blowing smoke up my ass and saying
that. I think it's the krill are just like so much more abundant. That's
what it was. Larger biomass.
That's right, yeah.
We got to get an environmental engineer on here or whatever.
Seriously.
Have some buddy we could actually get on about that.
Here we go. We got another guest for the kids.
Beautiful. Anywho. Yeah, this was definitely something I would say I was wrong about in the past. Like, I think if someone, actually, I remember one specific example, someone asked me if krill oil is better. I don't think I said no, but I think I said, I don't think I said yes or no. I think I said it's like equal to fish oil.
Okay.
But I don't know. Right now, I'm kind of swaying towards it's actually better. So there's a few reasons for that. So it comes in phospholipid form.
Instead of the triglyceride?
Or the ethyl ester. And phospholipid form seems like it's even more bioavailable than the other ones. So if we're going in order, it would be like phospholipid most bioavailable, then triglyceride, then ethyl ester.
Gotcha.
So that's one thing. The other thing, krill oil naturally has something called astaxanthin in it, which is an antioxidant. So now if you kind of backtrack and think about all that oxidative stress we talked about,
right?
Well, if it naturally has an antioxidant with it, that's a pretty damn good thing because that's going to prevent some of the oxidation. Another thing I forgot to mention. So if you see a fish oil, a triglyceride one with you'll see it, they often, and I know that the one at the gym has this, the Paleoethics has it, it'll say vitamin E.
Right.
Tocopherol or whatever vitamin E. Well, the vitamin E is an antioxidant. So some people do add it. So that's a good thing actually. But anyways, this one has the antioxidant with it. So that's two. Third one, which is kind of the deciding factor, is that its uptake into the brain seems to be higher. So the actual DHA that you're getting into the brain seems like it's higher from krill oil. Reason being is because so this phospholipid itself has 3 different forms. It's funny, like everything you can like unpack, and well, it's made of 8 more things. You unpack 8 of those and it's like, oh, it's made of 16 other things.
Yeah.
But anyways, the phospholipid, one of the things it's made of comes from phosphatidylcholine. So phosphatidylcholine, so that's it's a precursor for acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter in the brain. But apart from that, phosphatidylcholine just gets into the brain easier. I mean, that's like some kind of more complex stuff, but basically there's like transporters that are able to get that across the blood-brain barrier better than the triglyceride form. Okay. So that's kind of the biggest differentiator there, is that its bioavailability to actually get into the brain is higher than triglycerides.
Which is huge, because you don't want to be taking supplements just to pee them out.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely not.
This is
excuse me.
Making it more you're actually able to I'll just say absorb that nutrient better than if that wasn't there.
So and I think krill oil, I believe, It's funny I'm saying this, but I've actually never bought it before. I've been meaning to, like when I restock, I'm going to get some, but I think it is a lot more expensive. But again, like you're probably getting what you pay for. And then they have an ICOS now, which is International Krill Oil. Same thing.
Oh, just a separate.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I
Something to
wonder,
give a go.
like, I've never used a krill oil supplement either, but you're saying they're more expensive. I just wonder if the overall serving size or something like that is significantly lower, and you get like, I wonder about like the cost per serving basically is what I'm trying to say and how it compares. Like, that's something you need to think about too, right? Like your product might say it's $100, but it may also be like 90 servings.
Yeah.
And if you need one serving a day, then you got 3 months worth of product compared to spending $22 or whatever on a whatever brand from Shoppers, say, and you have to take 14 of the capsules to get an effective dose, and it's oxidated, and just the list goes on, right? Like, do you really want to worry about that, or are you just going to pay for the good product and use something that you know is pure and going to work?
I know, that's a really good point. I was thinking about that recently. So let's say like the krill oil, maybe it's like 90% bioavailable, whereas the fish oil is like 70% bioavailable. So like, is it worth spending that extra money to get the 90%? Or do you spend less money and increase your dose at the other one,
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, it's a toss-up. I don't know.
Yeah, and some people would sit down and figure out exactly what the right thing is to do. I can think of a couple of people that I know that would do that, and they would make the right choice based on like it'd be a whole like economics class of why one's better than the other.
I like trying shit, so I'm just gonna try it.
Yeah, you're your own guinea pig.
Yeah,
try stuff out. Because then from your experience, and you have control of your day and everything else that you do as well.
Yes.
Sometimes like human studies are tough to read.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So experience can go a long way with stuff like that.
Yeah. Should we take another, or maybe, sorry, I guess that'll be like a wrap on this one, eh?
Yeah, I think so. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot to.
I know. And that's only fish oil. Jeez.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah, that's only one. So I mean,
but I don't know. I would say that's like the most complex one.
Yeah,
or like the one you need to put the most care into because of that. Just what it is, right?
Yeah, I would say not knowing nearly as much of the topic as you do, and like you know exactly what to look for on the label and things like that. For me, looking at two separate fish oil products from a shelf in the moment when I'm in there and I got a salesperson standing beside me, it'd be very panicky to make the right choice, right? So
that's
like research at home first. I mean,
that's a good point,
this document that you have, like you said, you do the dirty work. You graded everything and all that. So, I mean, somehow we can get that in everyone's hands to use.
Yeah, maybe I'll attach it to the show notes or something like that.
Yeah, try and figure out
I'll let you know
how we can do that.
We got some new stuff coming out though, so maybe we'll link it in when that comes out.
Yeah. Gonna redo the whole thing.
Yeah.
Would be good. I guess that there's big points though, in terms of just being, if you're making the choice to spend your money on this stuff, you should care about what you're spending your money on.
Yes.
I would think. I mean, I guess that's not really my place to say. But if I'm spending my money on a fish oil product, you got to use it properly. Before even worry about the right product, are you actually going to take this product consistently enough that it's going to make a change for you? Yes or no? If the answer is no, don't buy it, because you're definitely wasting your money. And then second is all the things that we talked about in terms of picking through the ingredients list and finding the right product for you.
Sounds like a lot, but I mean, it's just triglyceride, unless you're getting a krill oil. Look at EPA and DHA, and then you can use those two tests too if you want. The bite test, the freezer test.
Yeah.
So
that simplifies it.
Yeah.
It makes it sound really easy when you put it that way.
Yeah.
All right.
Good luck.
Yeah. On the little search.
So we're going to record another one, but we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Or we'll chat anyways. Might not see us.
All right. Peace.